like an orphan who just spilled his last drop of soup, and he's now going to starve, and he knows it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to No Drama, Just Movies, and we are back this week with another movie review. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned with all the content that we release each and every week in the world of TV and movies. It is the Oscars 2025 season, where here on No Drama, Just Movies, we are taking all the movies that have been nominated and discussed in advance of the live ceremony, that being the Oscars in March. And we're taking all of those movies and we are reviewing them. And today, we have a very special one here for you. However, my name is Cameron. Look at the pretty building, mummy. Kelly Smith, and I'm joined by my esteemed colleague here.
I'm Phil, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Corwin.
Oh, I like that one a lot. I like that one a lot. But if you haven't guessed it by now, we are here to review none
How
other.
would you?
I mean, tell me about it. But we are here to review none other than The Brutalist. Obviously, this is directed by Brady Corbet. This seemingly is the movie that is being pegged at the moment to be the front runner to capture, obviously, the Best Picture. Adrien Brody seems to be, at least as of right now, the front runner, I suppose, to win the Best Actor award at the Oscars as well. So this seems like the movie that's going to walk away with the biggest prize and another one of the biggest prizes at the Oscars. So, I mean, the question is, this movie has received a lot of critical praise and reception, some negative recently due to the whole AI thing. But I guess the question is, did it match your expectations? Is this a potential Best Picture winner in your eyes?
No, I don't think so. Not for me, at least. I was mesmerized by Brody's performance, so I probably would give it to him. Um, but not to the film. It wasn't quite for me, I think. But you liked it a little bit more, didn't you?
I did. I think this is a movie for me where, like, weirdly, I really enjoy the story and the ideas that the movie presents. However, it might still, for me, not be the most best put together movie, but I still really appreciate and enjoy the story and the ideas it presents. And I think that there is a lot to unpack. And I think for a
Hmm.
while there will be a lot to unpack about this movie, because I think it's a movie of a thousand messages, a thousand ideas, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing. To me, it's definitely put my investigative hat on, should we
Hmm.
say, because it does make me want to find out more. Obviously, I just want to say right off the bat, it's too long. Like, it is just too long. Like, I think that no movie needs to be 3.5 hours unless Avengers is in the title. But even then, like, and I'm being cheeky, even then, like, I think no movie has to be that long. And it is long. And, that is going to be a big talking point. I think if you're a casual movie going viewer, which I don't think this movie is for, but if
No.
you are, I think that the idea of sitting there for 3.5 hours is long. And I think at times it does feel its length. And I want to touch upon that very quickly, because obviously that's not a reflection of whether the movie is good or bad. But how did you find the runtime? Obviously, that is a big thing.
I've felt it. It was way too long for me. But again, I didn't get into it as much as you did. So I guess I felt the runtime a little bit more
Mm.
even than it actually was. Um if I can, like, you mentioned all the ideas and a thousand ideas it had, and I think that was my biggest problem and why I probably couldn't get into it as much. Because I felt like it tried to do too many things here and there and this and that and that. So a lot of it was me just wondering what I'm supposed to like root for, what I'm supposed to like get invested in.
Yeah.
Um, because it was like obviously the architecture, and like you get László coming to America and he gets hired as an architect. So is it about like his love for buildings and like his drive to create like the best building ever? Um, or is it about his drug addiction? Or is it about him being an immigrant in America and like the Guy Pearce's character Harrison like looking down on him, and like what is it actually about? Like which strand are we supposed to like focus on? And I felt like it had a lot, well, too many strands for me. So without anything like to focus on, it just became like this very, very long kind of nothing, I guess, white noise almost.
But I mean, I think that's the thing, though, right? Like, if you are meant to focus on just one thing,
Mm.
if the point is that there is multiple ideas being presented to you that you are meant to juggle and think about. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that it was executed in the best way. Like, because you watch the trailer for this movie, and the first thing that pops up into your mind is that you're dealing with a story here about Hungarian immigrants who come over to the United States, or at least one specifically, that being László, who obviously in this movie plays an architecture, a renowned architecture, at least where he comes from. And when you see the trailer for this movie, your impression is that it's going to be about him coming over here and being treated as an immigrant and being taken advantage of by the wealthy and the elite, and that battle that he's having to face as an immigrant coming over to America, trying to chase the American dream and realizing that it is nothing like that at all. When you then watch the movie, yes, that is one idea, but there is multiple different things going on over there. Like there's elements of there's like you've got the whole the Jewish element, you've got the Zionism element. Like there's a lot of things going on. Obviously, you have the opium element and that drug element there. There's obviously later on in the movie, spoiler alert, there's one of the big scenes that happens is that there's a rape scene,
Oh yeah, I
which
forgot about that.
comes out. I mean, you don't expect it, but and then there's discussion in terms of that. The wealthy, the elite, immigration, like, and I think that to me, I think this is the thing about this movie. I think I could be wrong, but to me, this movie is a movie of 1,000 messages and subtext that I think I really just want to uncover, because I think that the movie at times is so abstract in some ways. The way that it's shot, the everything from the set design to the dialogue to the way that some of the scenes build, it just screams this idea of the director is trying to tell you or explain something. And obviously, you can make the argument that it might not have been executed very well if you don't really know what that is. But I can't pretend like I'm still not dying to know. And I think that's the thing about this movie for me. I mean, you mentioned obviously the different elements and how the different ideas and how you felt like they should have focused on one. Was there one that you felt like they should have focused on specifically?
I mean, I'm not saying that you can only have one single idea in a film, especially if the film is like 3 hours and a half. But I think, that's what I believe, there has to be like a guiding idea, and then everything else can be linked to that. Um, I don't know which one I would have preferred. Maybe the immigrant story, because that might be a big one right now. Current, very current, probably more than the architecture one. But I always like a story that's about like performance, someone trying to do something artistic. In this case, I guess, like creating a building, versus this problem of like, dignity. Like, are you willing to give up your dignity to make your dream a reality? Like dream of their building. That would have been like a really interesting story for me. And then either leave out the other stuff or like weave it in somewhere.
Do you feel like they did explore that though? Because I felt like that definitely was explored.
Yeah, amongst other things. That's the problem. Like,
Yeah.
but you mentioned the rape scene as well, and I like afterwards thought about there's really only two scenes that comes into the discussion, the actual rape scene itself, and then the scene where his wife Erzsébet comes and accuses Harrison of raping her husband. And then it's done. That's it. And I feel like, yes, it does touch on like immigration and like, is he willing to keep going with his building and like just accept that Harrison is a little bit racist and looks down on him a little bit. Um, but that was maybe like a scene here, a scene there. It wasn't the thing that runs through this whole film.
I get where you're coming from. And do you know what it is? Like, even as I was just listening to you speaking there, and you was talking about those two scenes, it even more so just really makes me want to find out like what this movie is about. And when I say what this movie is about, like what is really trying to be conveyed, or I would love a director's cut of this movie, and I would actually, not to say I would watch the whole thing, but I'll be intrigued in maybe a couple scenes or reading some excerpts, of Brady going over some things there, because I think this is a movie, and that is the fun part about this movie in my eyes, is that it is one where you can, for better or for worse, have a multiple discussions about it.
Mm.
What did this mean? What did that mean? What did you think was going on here? What did you think was going on there? Like, let's just address that scene. I want to ask you about that scene regarding the rape scene.
Yeah.
After that we saw the movie, we spoke about, and I was saying to you how from the moment that, because that's in the second part of the movie, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
after the intermission, where,
Yeah.
they make their way to Italy, and, László and Harrison are there, and they are met by László's friend, and, László is taking them up the mountain to, these, to the rocks or marble or whatever it was he's showing them. And it's just really, it's such a, from there all the way to that rape scene, it's such an interesting sequence, and I feel like it's full of questions for me as to what this means. Like, he's taking them up this mountain, and, he's explaining. It's a very eerie. The way it's shot is very eerie and really unique. And, him explaining, that him and László, the gentleman who's László's friend, excuse me, is explaining how, that they're both stubborn, that's why they survived. And then you then lead from that into, this kind of like cave-ish kind of sequence where they're having a party, and, Harrison's watching from the rafters, and, you can see like, amazing performance as well by Guy Pearce, because in that moment specifically, you can see that he's just thinking. And it's so eerie. It's just, I just have so much questions about that whole sequence in general, what the meaning of that is, what they were trying to convey, why film it here, why did, I mean, this is going to sound stupid question in terms of why did Harrison rape um László, but it does come out of nowhere, and
Yes.
it makes you wonder, like, is this something he did before? That links to obviously the scene when Erzsébet, is that her name?
Erzsébet.
Erzsébet, obviously played by
Yeah.
good old Felicity Jones. Obviously, she walks in and accuses him, and but even the way that he responds to that, and that seemingly leads to his disappearance, and you'd imagine suicide, the way that it's depicted. It's very weirdly done, but in a way that is just so fascinating to me. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that whole kind of thing there? I know it's a bit of a lot.
Um, yeah, I don't know if I have thought about this whole like visit to, I don't know, Italy. As again, it's kind of this idea of like which part is important and which part is just something else. Because I like he talks the friend talks about like Mussolini as well. I think he mentioned that afterwards. Like how he like talks about like punching the tomb or something, or punching Mussolini's grave,
Mm.
and throwing stones at someone, and it suddenly gets into this kind of like political dialogue. It feels like, but it's again, it comes out of nowhere. Uh,
Mm.
and then the rape scene, like you said as well, like it comes out of nowhere. There was no like indication that Harrison would do that unless it's like a power play or something, which maybe it is. But yeah, it all feels a bit random.
Mm.
So I couldn't get behind it.
Yeah, I mean, with that being said, though, I mean, let's talk about the performances. Adrien Brody, as of right now, I think it's his award.
Yeah.
I was listening to a review earlier where the gentleman felt like it was between him and Timothy Chalamet. All due respect to Timothy, Love Timothy. I think I would give this to Adrian, personally speaking. Um, just terrific performance. I think the performances across the board in this movie are fantastic. I think Guy Pearce delivers a great performance. I think Felicity Jones delivers a fantastic performance. She didn't have as much like the meatiest of roles, and she does get introduced quite late into the
Mhm.
movie. But tremendous, like in my opinion, tremendous performance. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I want to start with Guy Pearce. Like he's got like a really kind of lordy quality and aura about him. Like you can feel the disdain in some of the stuff he says and like how he interacts with László. But at the same time, you can also kind of see that he needs him or like respects him for his architecture. Um, so that was really well done, I think. And I love like when he bursts into the library the first time he meets Laszlo
Yeah.
and it just goes off on one and it was really like interesting to see him like just very powerful introduction to him, I think. Um Felicity Jones as well. Yeah. Like if we go Oscars, I would give it to her probably over someone like Isabella Rossellini. We obviously haven't watched all the Oscar films, so I don't want to get too far out. But the man of the hour, the man of the film, I'm pretty sure is Adrien Brody. Um, like he's very good, I feel, at like this suffering kind of the thing I thought watching this, he always feels seems um like an orphan. Like an orphan who just spilled his last drop of soup. And he's now going to starve and he knows it. So
What an analogy.
because you do feel sorry for him, and he does this kind of like suffering very well. And every time, every like little look he gives you, like little brow acting and stuff like that, it's like, holy shit, you've been through a rough time, man, and it's going to get even rougher. Um, and I think he very much shines in roles like that. Um, there was a bit of like acting in it, I feel, but I guess that's to be expected in a film like that because I feel like it's a bit more Oscar baity than other films, I think, which is probably why it's doing so well or done so well with the nominations. Um, but yeah, I think if it's between Timothy in Complete Unknown and him, I would probably give it to him. If it's between, I have to say this, Timmy in Dune 2, and him, I no contest whatsoever. I would give it to Timothy Chalamet for that performance. Must be said.
It's true. I mean, and that's going to lead me to my final point before we
Hmm.
go home here,
I
which
have.
is, well, go home as in before we wrap up, which is the Best Picture
Hmm.
nomination. Obviously, you know, you mentioned obviously good old Paul Atreides there. I think that Dune Part Two, as of right now, should win Best Picture.
Yeah.
I don't think it will, but I think it deserves to. If that doesn't, I think that the Brutalist probably will. Obviously, with the whole, you know, we don't have to delve all into it now, but you know, with obviously the whole AI debacle and whatnot. Um,
Hmm.
as I was watching this movie, I didn't think about the AI thing at all. I didn't really
I did.
even. There was times when I know where a bit I was like, okay, maybe that looks like it would be it. Like some of the designs architecturally, like I was like, no, I don't think they actually built this. But I don't know for sure if they were. Did you have any problem with it? Do you feel like it should, as a result, maybe prevent it from winning Best Picture, or did it not really bother you that much?
I thought about that at first, but maybe that was just me being mean and saying he shouldn't win it because it should go to Timothy. But I think in the end, yeah, it was minimal. My biggest problem with that whole, maybe probably with the like perfecting the Hungarian is who cares? Like, who cares how perfect the
Mhm.
Hungarian is? Like, you don't need to use AI to tweak that because, like, I, we know these guys are actors, right? We know these people are not actually Hungarian. We'll
Mm.
accept it if, like, if the rest of the performance is good, and it was. So it really wasn't necessary. That's my only problem, I think, right
Yeah.
now with it. Um, Obviously, you know, the AI is a whole different ballgame. But yeah, I think if they give it to him, I think he kind of deserves it. If they the film, like I said, a little bit less. But if they give it to the film, I wouldn't be too upset or wouldn't go, no, the AI, they should be disqualified.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, same here. I agree. I couldn't agree more. That's exactly where I'm at. And that does lead into obviously our review scores of this movie. So the question is,
Icy time.
how many is icy time? How many ices out of 10 will you be giving the brutalist? That is the question.
Everyone's gonna hate me, but I'm gonna be very, very contrarian or brutal.
Ooh.
Even though it has nothing to, I looked it up. It has nothing to do with that. I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10 ICs. Most of it is because it just looks good. Oh, I haven't mentioned like that one shot which is in the trailer as well, and I think they used it for one of the promotional posters. It's when they start working and there's like sparks flying, and you see like Adrien Brody coming into frame, and he's like smoking, and it's just an absolute beautiful shot.
Mm.
And there were a few like it just looked good as well. Um, but yeah, and the acting, so that's where the 6 goes, but the rest is I didn't like the story at all. So 6 out of 10 ICs from me. What's
Oh,
you?
damn, you know what? Oh, this is a tough one for me. Right now, I'm gonna go with 8 ICs out of 10. And I know it sounds too high. I was stuck between 7.5 and 8 ICs out of 10. And it's because of the fact that I'm so intrigued. I'm so intrigued. And this is like I can't get the themes out of this movie out of my mind. I can't get the ideas out of my mind. And really and truly, I think that it is a 7.5 out of 10 for me. But I've settled on 8. I'm gonna stick with 8. I think I'm gonna regret it, but I'm gonna go with 8 ICs out of 10 for now, and regret it later on. Yeah, so that's where I land for the
Oh
Brutalist, and
man,
we'll
that
see.
hurts.
Yeah, we'll see if that sticks as the weeks go by up until the ceremony itself. However, that will do it for us and our review of the Brutalist. Once again, we are No Drama, Just Movies. If you like this video here, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, share, drop down in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts on the movie. And genuinely, please tell us what you thought this movie was about and what you took away from it, because I think that would be very helpful. Help Phil. That would be really
Help me,
helpful.
help him, help everyone.
If possible, yes, please.
Explain it to us.
Once again, we are No Drama, Just Movies. My name is Cameron. Look at the pretty building, mummy. Kelly Smith. Oops. Pause. Let me do it again.
Keep going.
Oh, God. My name is Cameron. Look at the pretty building, mummy. Kelly Smith, and I'm joined by my esteemed colleague here.
I'm Phil, Marvel Cinema,
No?
hey, Marvel Cinematic Universe, Corwin. It's a hard thing to say.
I mean,
We need
clearly,
sleep.
we need obviously, clearly, we need the awards for the best presenting and hosting, because we just really crap the bed at the end there. However, that's what YouTube is for. That's what art is for. And once again, we are No Drama, Just Movies. Thank you very much for checking out our review today, guys, of The Brutalist. And we will see you very, very soon. Take care, guys.
Bye.